are Arsenal going to bottle it? That's the conversation of the day, really, because, 2 weeks ago, I sat here and I was like, it's over. They've won it. It's done. And to be fair, right, they lost to Aston Villa, which is, everybody loses to Aston Villa these days. Check out the Villa video we did on Monday. And since then, they've cruised past Club Brugge in the Champions League, and they've beaten Wolverhampton Wanderers. So are we all just like, is this copium, do you reckon? Non-Arsenal fans are like trying to really pick the holes, or are they actually cracking?
I think they're crumbling.
Do you really?
A bit.
Okay, give me some real like impetus here. I want to believe you.
So, December.
Lovely time of year.
Welcome to December. That's that. Basically, what I'm saying. They already had injuries. And it's inevitable that you're going to hit a point in the season where you're going to fall off a little bit. There's going to be that moment. You cannot go, especially today, unlike years ago, in today's game, go from the first game in the season all the way to the last game in the season without having a bad patch or without having a little dip. I think this is Arsenal's time for that dip. And I say that because I think what we're seeing in these games now is Arsenal starting to struggle physically. I think they've already had injuries. I think there's more to come. And I think tiredness is starting to creep in. Arsenal have been a side that have relied on a very core 11. And they have made some changes here and there, especially because of some injuries. And they've had some players coming back that I don't think are fully up to speed. But I think we're going to see more of those issues now that it's December and it's literally a game every 3 days. Champions League included, cup competitions included. I think Arsenal are going to crumble partially because of that. And I think that's where they're going to be not just dropping points, but putting in performances like we saw against Wolves.
That was really quite poor.
Very poor.
If you look at the actual like the game itself, Arsenal was so dominant. And obviously like history won't ever bring this game up again, right? If we don't talk about it today, we won't talk about it ever again because it's 3 points. It's worth the same as if they won 6-0. And by all accounts, they were so incredibly lucky in this game. But I will also counter the cracking potential point by saying, if anything, I think a game like this where you don't play very well, you win 2-1, you ride your luck a little bit against a team which if they'd have... We said this yesterday. If Wolves would have got a draw, I'd have been breaking into Eunice's gaff at 2 o'clock in the morning to film an emergency episode on the magnitude and stature of this result. But history will not remember this because Arsenal still won the game. They won it 2-1. The 2 own goals that go in are comical at best. It is absolutely the history of the Wolves from this season at this point. Like, they've not been dreadful in every match they've played, but at some point or another, you've got to even turn an L into a D, mate. You've got to start drawing sometimes. But for Arsenal, I think, and Jamie Carragher made a point at the beginning of the season, which at the time a lot of people thought was blasphemy or was crazy. He said, at some point during this season, Victor Gyökeres will not be Arsenal's number 1 frontman because Kai Havertz will displace him. And Victor Gyökeres, mate, and this isn't just me looking through blue-tinted glasses and looking at Arsenal and wanting them to not perform, but he's really struggling, I think, in this Arsenal team. And I'd say he's actually borderline a problem for them at the moment.
To be fair, I do want to say this because he has just come back, right? Pretty much. But even prior to that, we didn't see too much. There was moments. The thing with Arsenal is that there's not much pressure on someone like Gyökeres because they were getting results and they were scoring goals irrespective with everyone else around. And then him from time to time, which for a striker isn't enough. But we're seeing this with a lot of strikers in the Premier League. There isn't any striker that's really lighting it up, bar Haaland. And now I would add Ekitike to that. Yeah. That's it. Mm-hmm. You know, we were speaking about Aston Villa, but talking about Villa and the goals they're scoring, Ollie Watkins isn't a part of that. You know,
Yeah, 3 goals for Watkins this season.
it's a case of the contribution may be there, but we don't really have a time now where we're seeing strikers just banging goals consistently, or they're the ones that are only getting the goals for the team. Arsenal haven't had the pressure of relying on Gyökeres because everyone else is scoring and they're top of the league and everything's all good. But if this was a different story, you best believe he'd be getting grilled for the same level of output that he's putting in right now. He'd be getting grilled. But there is a player there. I don't believe Gyökeres is poor. This could be a thing of just not being able to adapt properly to the Premier League and to its level and to its intensity, because it's a different gravy. People think that sometimes we brag on about the Premier League, or we brag on about how physical it is, or how tough it is, or why it's the best league in the world. It's this very reason.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think for Arteta, that is going to be a big conversation, a big decision that you might have to make, because I think Mikel Merino is one of the best players that Arsenal have. I think he's a fantastic footballer.
Enough.
I think he can play. I think if he asked him to play centre-back, he'd do a good job. I think he's that good. So for Arsenal also, Gabriel Jesus, obviously Arsenal fans are happy that he's coming back into things. Kai Havertz, think whatever you want about him, he's a functional player, right? And I think Carragher might end up being correct, you know. Because I don't think Arteta, as much as Gyökeres is the big money striker, he's the goal machine, you know, all of these things that we heard and we know for a fact because he did it at Sporting Lisbon so prolifically. I do think Arteta will have to make a call when Havertz comes back for the benefit of the team, potentially, to not have Gyökeres as the starting striker. Because I think when you see certain players do that role better on a more consistent basis than Gyökeres, I know he's been injured, so maybe it's unfair, like you say. But I think with Arsenal this season, and this is where we can tie in the Man Cities and the Villas of this world into this video. When you look at Man City, I said this in the review video yesterday. Right now, Arsenal are kind of on the run because they are the team that everyone's chasing down. They have been top of the table pretty much all year. Since the start, there's been moments where they've looked totally infallible. Now they do look like you can get to them, you can score against them. The whole defense thing is, it's a thing of the past. It's a story for yesterday. But they are still the best defensive side in the league with only 10 goals conceded. So you think they're crumbling?
I do.
You do?
I
So
do.
can we look forward a little bit to the next couple of games then? Everton away at the weekend. That's a banana skin, that is.
And historically, that's an Arsenal. That's a game where you can just see Arsenal losing 2-1. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
In
I
fact,
do know what you mean.
If we go head to head, let me actually check this because I don't know their record. It's not Goodison anymore, but last season they drew 1-1. The season before that, they won 1-0. The season before that, they lost 1-0. Right? The season before that, they lost 2-1.
So Everton at home to Arsenal is like a big game that Everton get up for, basically.
The season before that, they drew 0-0. The season before that, they lost 1-0. Historically, Everton away is a big banana skin for Arsenal. Now, it's a new stadium, though, so it's not Goodison, so I don't know if it's going to be the same. But, Everton also need a point to prove. Like, they're going to come all guns blazing after the Chelsea loss, and I don't know if Dewsbury Hall's going to be available for it, but...
Apparently it's not like a proper hamstring injury. So it was just precautionary that he came off. But like, actually, this fills perfectly into this conversation because Man City are at home to West Ham next weekend, which by all accounts I can't think of anything other than a home win. So if Arsenal do lose and Man City win, they're not even top at Christmas.
There we are. And this is why I want to say mentally they're getting tested. But physically, I reckon they'll fumble.
I think you're right. If they get past Everton and they're top at Christmas, psychologically, I think it does mean something. And I think
it does.
The
Getting
Arsenal
past that
thing,
Christmas period.
Yeah, the Arsenal thing at the moment, mate. I've got a mate of mine. I'm going to actually give him a shout out, Mr. Guy Connolly, bro. Can you stop posting Instagram stories that are constantly saying watching the champions? You ain't flipping won anything, okay?
No
mate,
way.
He posts watching because he's in Bali. He says watching got up for the champions at 4 a.m.
You
bro,
see, look,
what are you playing?
I've not even had the water, and I'm gonna put this back down. Right, this is Gooners. You got to chill, man. You do this every year, like every single time. There's one first sign of promise, That's it. Chests are out.
Yeah.
We're untouchable. We're going to do it. It's going to be nice. It's going to be plain sailing. And then it's not even by Christmas. It's always by April, May, where the heads get cut off and then they fumble.
Yeah.
At the very end. And we're not even there yet. And there's already signs beginning to show. Calm down, guys.
But this is the Man City thing, isn't it? Also, how by this point of the season, the cogs start to go. This is quintessentially everything that Pep Guardiola has ever done at Man City is currently going to script.
Yeah.
And this year, I actually think this more than ever, with the way that the Premier League is so inconsistent, that know-how of Pep Guardiola, I think, is going to be the difference, potentially.
It's leverage.
And I'm gonna say this now before we talk a bit more about Man City, because if we're going to talk about Arsenal and if they're crumbling, then crumbling by definition means you're not going to win the league. I still think Arsenal are champions at the end of the season, personally. I think you could be right. I think there could even be this weekend. I think we could be talking about City top at Christmas. That would not surprise me because it's Everton away. But I still think Arsenal are going to win it because I think there's a hunger there that is like they're parched, they're everything. They're starving, they're desperate. It's desperation. We said it at the start of the season, on the start of this channel. We said if Arteta doesn't win it this year, he's got to go because he's never going to flip and do it.
Yep.
And I think the Premier League is getting to that point now where if Arsenal don't win it this year, he's not going to do it. He genuinely won't do it. I still think they're going to win. But Man City are very much on form right now. And something we didn't even mention yesterday in the review is that City went and dismantled Palace off the back of a trip to the Bernabeu. And by all accounts, I know it was only 2-1, but they dismantled Real Madrid. Man City are serious. And Erling Haaland is a joke of a footballer. And could that be the difference, you reckon? Just having that striker that will score every time.
You know what's mad? City, weirdly enough, because it's City, they've actually kind of gone under the radar here.
All season we've been saying this,
This
though.
is bizarre because...
So by default, does that mean they haven't gone under the radar, though?
No, because they've, because Arsenal have been top and playing quite well. And then the games that City have lost in, which is very few, but it's because it's City. Oh, my God, City lost, you know? And because they've not been top, when you look at their games and what they've actually done, they've actually been doing pretty well. Since late October, they've lost 3 games total. They lost to Villa, they lost to Newcastle, they lost to Bayer Leverkusen. Every single other game around that they won. And as of late, they've won 5 on the bounce. Leeds at home, Fulham away, Sunderland at home, Madrid away, and now Palace away. And they're doing it efficiently. You know, Real Madrid, for example, that game at the Bernabeu was just, I would say, expected. Real Madrid don't look good at all. But Man City are now, like we've discussed in the roundup, there was a point earlier on in the season just looking at City playing and you just think Haaland's going to save him.
Yes.
And there's not
It wasn't
much.
clicking around him, was it?
Exactly. It's clicking around him now. And City have managed to find their mojo in terms of playing their own way and teams not having an answer for it. Whereas before it was like, nah, teams seem to have an answer. We were talking about Pep tactically and like it just, something's off, right? And it looked like he didn't have another alternative or another way. Okay, Haaland, just give the ball to Haaland then, he'll score. And it was working. Whereas now, other players are getting involved. The resurgence of Foden, I think, is absolutely fantastic and I think it's key.
Yeah.
What Shirky's bringing to the table, I think, is brilliant. And in turn, that is also alleviating pressure or at least, you know, mindset of the rest of the team, especially in defence, because there's less pressure on them because those guys now delivering up top, which is getting them the goals and getting them the results. And that's how City have always operated. Dominating each game. You can't stop us. You can't even take the ball off us. We're just going to dismantle you.
Yeah.
And they're beginning to do that.
I think it's also credit to Pep that, for example, you know, Chelsea, we've said about Caicedo's been out for most of the season, or a lot of the season, sorry.
Yeah.
Well, no, Palmer's been out for basically all of the season. Caicedo
Yeah.
for a third of the Premier League games so far. Man City have been without Rodri for the majority of the season too. Yeah. And I remember a point in the summer where I think Nico Gonzalez was a player that like just didn't really get Pep. Like Pep didn't really get it, wasn't really using him that much. And he's really stepped up in recent weeks too. And I think, again, it shows there's levels to this game of experience, right? Like Arsenal now have experience being the chasers. They have experience being the team that get there, but they don't get there.
Yep.
Pep has been like, right, okay, I've been dealt these cards. I've got this hand. We're going to go and do it my way. We're going to go and use these squad players that weren't maybe necessarily in there. And he's literally hammered home everything that he needs from these guys. Nico O'Reilly, like, by all accounts, I thought he was a midfielder and he's a left back. So Maresca's, he's learning from somewhere, obviously. But I think Man City will be right up there. But I still think Arsenal will pip them. But it wouldn't be fair to not engage in Aston Villa in this conversation, in this video as well, which I know we've left it late in this video to talk about Villa. If you want to find out what we think about Villa, check out Monday's video. We'll leave it as a card up there on the screen. But Aston Villa have won 7 Premier League games in a row. That's bloody mental, mate.
And 9 all comps.
They're on an insane run.
That's unbelievable.
So they're right. They've got +8 goal difference, which is nowhere close to Man City and Arsenal. Arsenal and City are leagues ahead on that regard. They've scored less goals and they've conceded more. But 3 points is 3 points. And these lot just find a way. And I think this is the thing we haven't discussed about Villa, but I've said it once before on this channel. I think they've got another gear to go to.
They look it.
They really do.
They look it. And talking about how City might pip Arsenal, mate, Villa are 3 points behind.
And they've beaten Arsenal.
And they've beaten Arsenal. If Arsenal fumble one game,
Everton.
and Aston Villa win one game, yes, they'll be tied. Arsenal above on goal difference, but Arsenal would have been fully caught. And that's insane.
Bro, Aston Villa's next 3. You ready for this?
Is
Man United at home,
okay.
Chelsea away, Arsenal away.
Oh, so they play Arsenal again. Really, that's perfect. For Aston Villa, that is perfect. For Arsenal, that's bad.
Mate.
That's really bad for Arsenal. And that's, albeit that's at the Emirates. That could be huge.
This
Because
is very interesting.
if Arsenal were to win that game, that's almost like a reset of things. We lost at their ground. Cool, we got the job done at home. Everything's back to normal, right? And it would mean a loss for Aston Villa, and that could be a little bit of a blow because they've been on such fantastic form and they're just winning games.
Well, do you know what? I reckon Chelsea will beat them. Because we just do against the good boys, the big boys, don't we? The good teams.
Yeah, we could go down that route.
Yeah.
Yeah, Aston Villa, you're big boys now. Yeah, you're not.
I'm not. They fully are, man.
Charity FC
They
is
fully
void
are.
in that game. Doesn't
Yeah.
exist. But if they get a result at the Emirates, talk about that crumble.
There'll be an apple crumble and custard, mate. That will.
That would be Arsenal in trouble, big trouble. So
Wow.
that's a defining next set of games, I think, for Aston Villa and for Arsenal.
Well, let's leave that conversation there for a little while. Let us know who's going to win the Premier League. I'm sticking with Arsenal. I'm pressing you here.
I want to say City. I'll be honest.
You reckon?
I can see where things might be going. I
can
think
see it
Arsenal
too.
might fumble. I think Arsenal will be in the race to the very end, but I think it'll be the same story as we've seen last year and the season before and the season
We're going to
before.
have a lovely summer next year, aren't we? Who's going to manage Arsenal then? We'll see. But we're going to go and film now some Premier League predictions for this week, which you guys will see on Friday, but also for the following week too, because I'm going back to UK for Christmas. So Eunice and I have got a lot of stuff to get through in the studio to make sure that you lot are entertained over this Christmas period. Let us know who you think is going to win the Premier League. Arsenal, City or Villa? Or could it be someone else? We've left it today because otherwise we'd be here all flipping day debating this. But I think that's fair at this point. It's a 3-horse race for now.
Absolutely.
Let us know your thoughts. See you in the next one.